You're listening to DraftKings Network.
At the Coca-Cola Company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and PepsiCo, our bottles might still look the same, but some of them can be remade in a whole new way, using 100% recycled plastic. New bottles made using no new plastic except the caps and labels. You'll be seeing more of these new bottles in more places, and that's thanks to you, because when we get more bottles back, we can use less new plastic. Learn how our bottles are made to be remade at madetoberemade.org.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB the CV. Copyright 2024. Proximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Today's episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
We have ourselves a second helping of Greg Cote.
Oh, too much.
What do you mean too much?
It's just more than people
never
can
enough.
stand. Okay. Who needs him? Who needs me?
I need him.
Okay. I'm here for you.
I need as much as I can get. I mean, the NBA Finals tip off tonight. LeBron will not allow the NBA Finals to tip off without making himself the biggest story, bigger than the NBA Finals, as it is reported by Woj that the Lakers are preparing a massive offer for Dan Hurley, the head coach at UCONN. This is great. This is LeBron at his absolute best, Greg.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Now, there's no one around here that's less knowledgeable when it comes to journalism than me, but it seems like all these journalists nowadays are reporting stuff without actually reporting stuff.
That's exactly right.
It's like the Lakers are circling in, so if he doesn't end up being the coach, you're kind of good. You're not saying that he's the next head coach. You're kind of just like, if he ends up being the head coach, I was right. If not, I didn't actually report it.
Listen to the language of the last 2 days. So Shams reported that it would be J.J. Redick. But the language in the tweet is the Los Angeles Lakers are zeroing in.
I love a good zeroing
on J.J. Redick as the front runner for the franchise's next head coach. So not just they haven't agreed to anything, they're zeroing in on it, but zeroing in as the front runner. So not even zeroing in on hiring him. And then Woj today, breaking, the Los Angeles Lakers are targeting Connecticut's Dan Hurley to become the franchise's next head coach and are preparing a massive long-term contract. So no, they haven't offered it. No, they haven't even finished the contract. They're preparing to offer it. And yet these are all posed as breaking news. This isn't the breaking news yet. Tell me when someone's been hired. Tell me when someone's actually had a contract
I understand.
It's like saying Iowa's targeting Nick Saban to be the next head coach, all right? We're just making shit up here.
Right, and who isn't?
I'm targeting Chris Evans to be my boyfriend. We're just talking.
Yeah. What was the first term used? The one?
Zeroing in.
Which one do you guys like the best? Honing in, zeroing in, or targeting?
When I picture zeroing in, I picture me at the Benihana looking at the chicken and shrimp. I'm zeroing in on it. I haven't ordered it yet.
Right.
But it's what I'm zeroing in on.
Okay.
In order, it's targeting. You're targeting. You're looking at the area.
Yes.
Then you start to hone in on the area, and then you see everything that's in your way, and then you zero in on that final topic.
I like a honing in. I do. Greg, what do you like? I mean, there is a journalist who's here. Greg, what do you like in terms of terms?
I like a targeting. Targeting is because you picture a bullseye.
Right.
They're targeting. They got a bow and arrow. They're about to shoot an arrow right into the bullseye.
Right.
Preparing a massive offer. I hate the fact that they call it breaking news, though. Okay. It's what it is. It's sort of breaking speculation. It's not breaking news.
More of a crack. Doesn't have the same ring to it, though.
I know. Breaking speculation is like a weird phrase.
Right.
But that would be more accurate than breaking news because they're not even saying they have made a massive offer to Hurley. Preparing could mean anything. Preparing means they're thinking about it.
Right.
Basically.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
It is coming from the best NBA reporter in the business, Woj. But you're right. Like, if you think Hurley's going to be the next head coach, come out and say it.
Yeah. There's a real art to breaking news that isn't really breaking news. And on the Herald staff, Barry Jackson is a great reporter. Like, he probably breaks more news than anybody on our staff. But even he uses that careful language when he's reporting something that isn't finalized.
Ass covering.
But it's sort of targeting, just words like that, targeting, preparing, zeroing in on. It's an art of journalism is to pretend, say that you're breaking news when you're really not.
You have that target, the bullseye, on Dan Hurley's back, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Or right on his chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a Rob Pelinka and LeBron James and, the Bus family. They're all shooting at that target. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And JJ Redick is off to the side getting the collateral shrapnel, I think.
When I see that Dan Hurley report, I think I go through the John Gruden prism of it's just his agent trying to get him more money. I mean, not that Woj... I feel like the agent might just leak it. I don't know. It's just I don't trust anything is what I'm really trying to say.
I will say this, that Dan Hurley has talked about wanting to be an NBA coach for a while now. He's done all you could do at UConn. They won back-to-back national championships. He has the best program in America right now. So he's talked about being an NBA coach. Your first job being the Lakers coach, that's a pretty damn good job. There's also a trend here where college coaches were the stars of college sports. And you're seeing a bunch of them leave. They're going to the NBA because they don't like what college sports has become. You saw Coach K walk away from it. Nick Saban walk away from it. You've had others walk away from it. Jim Harbaugh left college, went back to the NFL, and now you have a guy who's in the perfect position. Back-to-back championships with a great recruiting class coming in and tons of money. And he's like, Bronny James.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy what's happening in college sports.
It's been more work than ever to be a college coach. I do disagree with one thing that you said. Coach K didn't step away. He just lost the title and hung around.
Okay.
He's still the head coach of Duke. You just don't. You're not like.
He hasn't taken one step away from that place?
He's got an office there still.
All right, put it on the poll. Has Coach K even taken one step away from the Duke job?
Yeah.
Just one step?
Nope.
Well, the one step, seemingly, is, according to a bunch of different sources, and the article in The Athletic with Shams, is helping the Lakers decide who their next head coach would be. And everybody thought when that was initially sort of put out there that would automatically mean JJ Redick, his former player. But it looks like now, if Dan Hurley actually ends up being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, that it's Bobby Hurley's brother, Dan Hurley, Bobby Hurley, who played for Coach K, who now ends up getting that inside track. So one way or another, Coach K's influence is felt with the Lakers and clearly with the Duke program, too.
I'm imagining Coach K's phone ringing. He's like, it's LeBron. He's like, honey, it's LeBron. We're getting back into coaching. Hey, what's up, LeBron? Hey. Oh, Lakers job. Honey, I was right. Lakers job. Yeah, you want me to help? Well, you want me to help find the coach. Oh, I thought, honey, cancel the plans. I'm gonna help LeBron find the Lakers coach.
That was amazing acting by you. I'm proud of you.
That was pretty good. That's not bad. Especially the gesture with the phone here, the classic phone gesture.
And the look away, too.
We all do that, right? Don't we all do that mid-conversation, talk to our, like, honey, this is who I'm talking to.
Yeah, you pretend
to. You
to.
hear something crazy?
Yeah.
This generation, they don't do the phone like the thumb up pinky. They just do a flat hand because they're
really?
they're not
speaker.
used to like this type of phone. So if they're like pretending to be on the phone, they'll be like, isn't that
Totally
insane?
different.
Really?
That is
Yeah,
insane.
saw it on TikTok.
Man, the game is changing.
Everything is
So
changing.
it's like, hey, what's up? This is totally different.
Yeah.
Really weird.
It's
Right.
weird. It's like you get your hand on your ear. Your
It's
ear
exactly like that.
This is great for the
Poco
audio
Man.
audience.
My kids never talk on the phone, though.
They text?
That's it. Social media and texting.
They aren't FaceTimers? That's
Not
where
really.
only old people like Dan's the only person that FaceTimes me.
Speaking of Dan, he is tracking down this story in L.A. right now.
Yeah, we have him on the case.
We'll see if he has any news for us before the end of the show.
Yeah, special correspondent.
Getting back to his roots.
Yes. Yeah, I wonder who his source is, because if you're breaking news, it's interesting to analyze so-called breaking news and how it emanates, because like somebody like Woj is an agent for agents. And I don't even mean that as a criticism.
No.
But chances are very good that his source is an agent of some sort.
I would place that at 100%.
Or close to it.
Yes.
Back in the day, you would assume that the source was somebody connected with the team, a GM you knew very well or something like that. But that's not the way it operates now. If your best source is Drew Rosenhaus, just to pick an agent's name at random, you're in much better shape than if your source is Chris Greer, the Dolphins GM.
No doubt.
He's not going to tell you anything he doesn't want you to tell you.
Right.
The agent is going to tell you what suits him, which is...
What benefits the agent is not what benefits the team.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
You're saying that like it's a good thing, but that doesn't mean you're getting the truth. Like, this agent's going to manipulate you and tell you exactly what he wants you to say.
No, but Chris, your dad's right. When it comes to the player, though, you're going to get something that's closer to the truth from the agent than the actual team itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the agent's not going to flat out lie. I mean, he's not going to invent an interest in Hurley if there isn't a grain of truth.
It's the one time they tell the truth. I mean, I'm telling you. Greg's right. I mean, are we questioning Greg Cote? He's been doing this forever.
All the times John
Connor
Gruden's
McDavid,
agent said that he was in the running for this job to get him more money from Monday Night Football, that agent was lying.
Right.
That agent was just trying to get him a raise. Like, if this is like,
what is Dan Hurley making at UConn? Do we know? It's got to be somewhere, in the neighborhood of $10 million a year. Now, I know this offer, what they're preparing, people are speculating it's going to be north of $100 million. But again, if you're Dan Hurley, you've won back-to-back championships. The job is the Lakers' job. This isn't the T-Wolves or Oklahoma City. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. And if it doesn't work out, Dan Hurley could go back and pick any college job he wants.
Right.
As of January 24, Hurley earns annual salary of $5.3 million, a substantial jump from his previous salary of $2.9 back in 2018.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't trust anyone.
It is the public posturing that's different, right? Because we watch all of this stuff play out in public in a way that we didn't used to, right? When it was just breaking news in a newspaper, there weren't going to be articles about a team potentially zeroing in on this person. But now the way to generate not only revenue, but to do your job is to sort of follow the drama all the way along, whether that's the trade deadline, whether that's a player requesting out before free agency, whether that's a player in free agency, and now the coaching cycle as well, particularly when you're talking about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers and names like as sexy as LeBron or JJ Redick, where people know who they are. You want to see the drama play out. And so it doesn't even matter whether or not any of these reports are true, whether they're coming from agents, as long as you have the saga playing out in front of us, that's what matters. And you want to be first on breaking the news. But ultimately, so long as you're the first to break one angle of the story, that's kind of all that seems to matter to these publications.
Man, LeBron is playing us like a fiddle right now. We got game one tonight, and we are sitting here just like, who's going to be LeBron's next coach? We're dumb.
Who was that? What are you doing there?
That's us.
That's us? You're imitating us?
Yes.
You could have just spoken in your normal voice, though.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work. I mean, you're right. You had to do it that way. It's a good job.
Do you guys think JJ Redick's upset?
I think, I heard Brian Windhorst say, and I think he's as connected to this particular story as anyone because he knows this group so well. I heard him say that perhaps there's another job inside the Lakers organization for JJ Redick.
But I don't want another job. I want the head coaching job. If I'm leaving my cushy job as media and podcasting and doing stuff with LeBron.
But maybe this is a job where JJ doesn't have to leave that stuff.
An analyst.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever had a job where you're already getting another job, but you still have like those 2 weeks at the old job, and you're like, I'm getting another job. I don't really care what's going on here. Let's just hang out. Oh, that you're upset by what I do. Okay, no biggie. Whatever. I'm out of here anyway. I feel like JJ was like on that path of like the podcast. I'll do it when I get to it. No biggie. Whatever. And now that Dan Hurley's going to be the coach, he's like, damn. Okay, let me schedule another podcast. Let me call LeBron, see what's up.
I think Dan Hurley was just on their podcast.
Yeah, I think he was, actually.
I think he was. I think he was on, like, in the last 2 weeks, and they were talking about what a great offensive mind he has.
But at the same time, though, if you're J.J. Redick, no matter your confidence level, you're looking at Dan Hurley's resume, and you're going, you know what? If I were the Lakers, I'd probably hire him, too. At least that's what the truth serum answer would be if you're J.J. Redick.
Why would you not hire Dan Hurley? a guy who actually has coaching experience over J.J. Redick, who has none, who hosts a podcast with LeBron James, and is calling the NBA Finals tonight. I mean,
it's really funny, and you could see we have the tweets, but Dan Hurley was on J.J. Redick's podcast in April. It was April 19th that he was on there, and they had a really, it
was a job interview.
Intense conversation about basketball, the way J.J. Redick does. And J.J. Redick shares, oh, man, I loved this part of our interview. It was so great. And in the replies to that tweet was one King James.
Oh, boy.
Who said, he's so damn good. Along with his staff, super creative with their offense. Love it.
Man.
And so it's so funny to see on J.J. Redick's podcast, LeBron flirting with the idea of how much he loves Dan Hurley.
But it would stand to reason that J.J. is in on this. Like, JJ's good not being the head coach. It would stand to reason just based on what we just said, right?
I mean, maybe JJ knows that he's never really been that close, so he's just enjoying
Maybe
all of
JJ
this.
doesn't want to be the head coach.
But he's just kind of enjoying, everyone
of
thinks
course
I'm
he
the next head coach.
Yes.
This is cool.
Yeah,
It's great for his profile.
It's great for his podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know about that.
Well, I've never been a head coach candidate, but, that kind of thing.
I'm sure you've been close.
You think?
If we're talking coaching experience, right? Like Tyronn Lue didn't have any coaching experience. He got thrown into a bunch of teams with LeBron, won a championship, now signed a massive deal with the Clippers. Like, you don't really... Experience is overrated as being a coach. You could be a mediocre player and still be a decent coach.
Right. It is weird you just being like, oh, Dan Hurley, he's done it. I've seen him do it, so he's definitely better. Like, we don't know what
No, I'm just saying that people were surprised this morning at Woj's report of Dan Hurley. Yet they weren't surprised when the report was J.J. Redick.
Yeah.
That's
weird.
all I'm saying. I don't mind if it's J.J. Redick. I mean, but Dan Hurley seems to be a better fit.
I'm pretty sure Dan Hurley was at a UFC fight a few weeks ago, or maybe even this last one.
Massive
UFC
UFC
He was
fan.
shown on camera, and he was doing the 2, 3, as if he was going to go for a three-peat at UConn. So
right. Well,
that's
he's not.
misleading. That 1, 2, 3 is a little misleading.
And that's why the kids are able to transfer whenever the hell they want. And that's why Dan and I have been saying for 20 years they should be able to transfer whenever the hell they want. Because you think you're going to play for Dan Hurley at UConn, and suddenly you're playing for J.J. Redick. And suddenly Dan Hurley's not there. And so if Dan Hurley can leave and pursue his dreams, why can't you leave and pursue the school you want to go to? Go to choice number 2. Coach number 2.
Back streets back. All right. Since the dawn of mankind, we've cooked our food over an open flame and debated the best way to grill. One thing not up for debate, grilling and beer always go together. But not just any beer would do. Whether you barbecue, Texas style, or just celebrate Wednesday with burgers and dogs, I love Miller Lite. Every single time my team plays on television, I am sitting behind that television screen with a Miller Lite or 3. Miller Lite keeps it simple. Undebatable quality, taste as great as your barbecue. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters the most. With the Miller Lite in hand, grilling doesn't just taste great, it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
Dan Le Batard.
And then Matt Stafford threw him 25 and 2. Oh, there's a brand new kid in town out of BYU.
Stugotz.
They call him Puka. Puka Nakua. His quarterback is not named Tua. Yeah, he is Puka. Puka Nakua.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I do have a top 5 list of guys who have told their agents to poke around Storrs, Connecticut.
Uh-oh.
He hasn't even accepted the Laker job yet, and yet I have a bunch of agents just flocking around. Flocking around. Jeremy gave me a great idea. The next time a South Florida coaching job comes open, we should throw your name into the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, hey, the Miami Hurricanes are zeroing in on Greg Cote as their next women's babasketball head coach.
That's going to be a big OLI if I'm on it. That's a massive OLI.
You never know. Throw Sam Cassell in there.
Yeah.
Sam Cassell. He's always in there.
You have to throw a random guy in there. Yeah,
Chris Quinn.
Yes, and Greg Cote.
By the way, let's not discount the possibility that it's Hurley's agent who is putting this out there. merely to get a triple salary from UConn.
Maybe.
To go from
Steve Martin
5.3
also, yeah.
to 15 or whatever.
Right.
There's no way. There's no way you leverage. I get it if it was going to be the Orlando Magic or the Cavs or something, but you're talking about the Lakers and using that to leverage UConn after you've just won 2 national titles. Like, what's the point of that?
To get more money out of them.
But you can get more money from the Lakers by just going to the Lakers.
We're saying to get more money out of UConn.
I know.
But Chris, hold on. The
UConn's
offer
gonna
that's
give you
being
$100 million?
prepared is $100 million. UConn's not giving you that.
Right, but if he's now making $7 million a year instead of $5.5, like it's just that's
But you
the game
could be
here.
making 25,
right,
or 30,
right.
But but UConn in the college realm is the Lakers, you could argue, or at least they have been recently. And if Hurley genuinely prefers coaching college basketball, which some coaches do, then maybe he is just looking for a raise from UConn. I don't discount it as a possibility. That's all.
I think something that we're not acknowledging with UConn is they did win 2 back-to-back national championships, but this will go down as one of the more dominant runs in college basketball history with how good these teams were. So you have this situation where if he comes back, the odds of a three-peat are really, really high, but there's not much else he can achieve because not only have they won 2 national titles, they will go down as one of the best college basketball teams runs of the modern era.
No question. This makes perfect sense. If you indeed want to coach in the NBA, you've talked about it, you've expressed your desires to coach in the NBA, and the Lakers job is available with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and it's a $100 million deal, this is the time to take that opportunity. There will never be a better time for Dan Hurley. His stock will never be higher. He'll never be more coveted coming off back-to-back national championships, and it's the Lakers. Mm-hmm. Lakers, Celtics, Knicks. You take the job.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And you're right. And the analogy would be if you're a baseball manager and the New York Yankees job comes open, you take it no matter what because they're the New York Yankees.
Correct.
And the Lakers have that aura and mystique and history, and they always will.
Mm-hmm.
A fun kind of hypothetical here is we're just assuming that this is all for LeBron. And, of course, he's making himself the center of attention before the NBA Finals, blah, blah, blah.
The fact that he could still do this at the age of
amazing.
39.
We're letting him do it.
But there's a game being played tonight.
We just did 20 minutes doing it. We just did 20 minutes on him.
But the hypothetical that's interesting is, well, what if J.J. Redick is LeBron's guy? And what if he was all along? And the way that Woj has positioned this with the zeroing in or wherever we are, in his thread on Twitter, he's talking about not only the tactical advantage that someone like Dan Hurley presents, but also his player development, which doesn't sound like what you want to build around a 40-year-old LeBron James.
No, he's taking care of his son.
What if it's that?
Yeah.
Or if LeBron doesn't intend to stay in Los Angeles and he and J.J. Redick are a package deal, potentially going somewhere else, like Cleveland, that maybe is moving their stars with Clutch Management's own Darius Garland sort of being floated out there.
Right?
And Bickerstaff is out. And
Jeremy,
maybe not just Cleveland.
He was going to go back to Cleveland after he already went back to Cleveland.
No, but Tony, think about
his career and bring Bronny with him?
Cleveland's favorite son comes home with his son.
Again?
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, again. He does whatever he wants. Maybe not Cleveland. Maybe anywhere else.
Maybe
but
the Knicks.
Miami.
The
Now we're
idea,
talking.
well,
Everyone
they have a
wants
head
him.
coach.
He's 39.
Yeah. Go over there.
And he comes with a kid who we're not certain if he's going to be good in the NBA, and he comes with a coach who's never coached before.
JJ could be Spo's coach in waiting.
I'll take him. I would fire Tom Thibodeau tomorrow.
What you just got done saying JJ might not be a good coach.
I don't care. LeBron's a great player.
And will be forever. Never getting old, that guy.
Chris, why were you yelling at us? By the way, we will break all of this down with Donnie Wahlberg. About 20 minutes. Why were you yelling? I can't speak. Why were you yelling at me and your dad because of agents and lying?
Just because
you did it in our headsets. It was weird.
I mean, it's just because you guys did a thing a couple minutes ago where you're just like, what do you mean? The agent's definitely telling you. And I just feel like if there's anyone in this scenario, GMs, agents, players, we should be trusting agents the least.
Well, everybody in sports has an ulterior motive.
Right, but you guys decided that the agent is the one that is definitely telling the truth. It's like, no, everyone's lying for their own interest, and we need to be skeptical of everyone.
Well, Chris, who do you think wants this news out there?
His agent, so he can get more money with UConn or get this job.
Or get the job,
thing.
right. That's why I think you're closest to the truth in this case. I understand what you're saying, but you're closest to the truth when you go to the agent on this. That's all I'm saying. Again, Donnie Wahlberg.
The one thing we can all agree on is that LeBron James's hands are all over anything that's about to happen.
Yes.
Whether it's the next Lakers coach, whether it's his own career move, whether it involves Bronny, whether it doesn't, LeBron is steering this entire conversation.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys want my top 5 guys who have already contacted their agents and their agents are already poking around Stores, Connecticut?
Absolutely. Yeah, sure, why not?
Oh, well, I have one. Not Greg Popovich. Want to be a D3 coach. Hell out of here. Number 5, JJ Redick. Maybe. Number 4, Bobby Hurley.
No.
Number 3, he's just taking a poke around. He's great on TV. He looks a million years younger than he did when he was coaching. Jay Wright. Has to be.
He looks so good.
Interesting.
Number 2. Now, we'll have to wait, because he can't go out during the daylight hours. But I promise you, his agent knows what to do when the UConn job comes open. Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
Hop, skip, and a jump from the Johnnies.
And number 1, I don't care that he hasn't coached the game at Arkansas. I don't care. I do not care. And if you think he cares, you don't know him. He will leave that job without coaching a game. He will take all of their money, and he will be the next head coach at UConn. And that, of course, is John Calipari.
Good list. It's a good list.
Thank you.
Good list.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, good
Appreciate it.
No notes.
We'll talk about it with Donnie Wahlberg.
Sound the trumpets, it's horse racing time. So saddle up for action with DK Horse, an official DraftKings affiliate. Right now, new customers who download the DK Horse app can get a 100% deposit bonus up to $250. Just deposit $25 or more and complete the playthrough requirement. Wager on your favorite horses, then watch the races live right in the app. Download the DK Horse app now. New customers get a 100% deposit bonus up to $250 when they opt in with code DLS only on the DK Horse app.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus, 21 plus in certain states. To open or access an account and a resident of a state where DK Horse is available. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Match calculated on first deposit. Up to a maximum of $250. Deposit requires 2-time playthrough of settled wagers within 168 hours. Bonus release in $25 increments. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at dkhorse.com.
Don Le Batard.
Your history with him suggests 3 years of
Those are the
heatering out
heaters.
there.
Yeah.
3 years of heaters. But this Stugotz, my partner, enlivened by a sports
We're
team,
having sex, baby.
and Joe Mauer, yes, like this is the best version of him. That's what?
Stugotz.
No, you are.
Yeah. Feels good.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
All right, we'll get back to LeBron James, the whole Lakers situation. But there's a bigger situation going on with this show and in sports in general. And it's not the NBA Finals, which tips off tonight. It is not the Panthers playing in the Stanley Cup Finals, which will get underway on Saturday. It is Greg Cote's feud with Canada. For those of you who missed it, Greg Cote wrote in a column that Connor McDavid is overrated.
Now he's an underachiever. He said that yesterday.
Yeah, he's both.
Yeah. Classic underachiever.
Right.
Yeah. So Canada, after Greg wrote this and talked about it on the show, Canada was very upset. Let's play that clip.
Is this the most ridiculous hot take ever?
This is McRidiculous. Absolutely. Listen, I'm all about clickbait, reader engagement, pandering to the home crowd. I get that. And maybe it's working because here we are talking about it, so it's mission accomplished. But like, if you know anything about hockey, and I'm assuming Greg might, you know that one player, no matter how great he is, cannot get it done and win a Stanley Cup on his own. Not McDavid, not anybody. But McDavid clearly is the greatest player in the game. He is generational. He's one of the best offensive players in the history of the game already. He has proven that beyond a shadow of a doubt. So, Greg, I'm sorry. This is preposterous, outrageous, ridiculous, and just flat out wrong. So I know the Miami crowd might eat it up, going up against McDavid. But if you are a hockey writer, some point you're going to look back at this article, this headline, and say, that was not my finest journalistic moment, because this is just ridiculous and wrong.
Jury is still out on that. We will find out together whether or not it was your finest journalistic moment.
That's right.
What has happened since then?
Greg.
It's my favorite part of it.
Greg.
Well, the Greg Cote Show podcast put out a bee sting.
What?
Yeah, we call it a bee sting. It's BEE stands for bonus emergency episode. Okay, because I couldn't.
Does everything need a name?
Does sting mean anything or no?
Yeah, just bee sting. That kind of thing.
I like it.
But
now, did you back down at all? Or did you double down?
I'll let you be the judge of that.
We do have a clip here. Let's see if my dad doubled down or if he backed off a little bit.
Oh, Canada, so sad I riled you up. Sad that Connor McDavid, for all his stats, has not lived up. Sad that your McJesus has never raised the Stanley Cup.
All right.
He doubled down.
I'm not going to back down. I mean, come on. It's a one-sided feud. Canada hates me. I love Canada.
Right.
My name is Cote. It's a popular name in French-speaking Canada.
Is it?
Yeah, and, I'm one of them. I love Canada. I've visited there. Visited Vancouver, Montreal, Quebec. I mean, it's a great city.
Cote is the fourth highest used surname in Quebec.
Right.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I mean, you're basically Canadian. I mean,
yeah, basically, I have French-Canadian ancestry.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Little St. Catherine Street. I mean,
my Aunt Arlene used to sing Robert Goulet songs in France when I was growing up in the kitchen. She'd be singing a song in French. I'm like, what are you doing, Auntie Arlene? So, yeah, I'm part French. I'm part Canadian. There you go, eh?
Is that what she did?
That's right.
Sang Robert Goulet.
Can we hear what it sounded like?
If I knew any French, I'd start singing right now like she did. Is he comment ça va? Ça va bien. No. Okay.
Oui.
That's it. Right. How about that?
Was that the entire episode?
No, well, it's
just him singing and then they close it off.
I try to defend McDavid a little bit because it's such a ridiculous take.
Just to balance it out?
Yeah.
A bee sting is a short episode. I think it was 10, 12 minutes long. But basically, I just explained my opinion, which I'll never back down from because I think the opinion is accurate. I don't think you can be McJesus and the next great thing in hockey if you go 9 years without winning a Stanley Cup. That's all.
Alexander Ovechkin took 13 years to win his.
Yeah, but if Greg,
right?
if the Capitals played the Panthers 10 years into his career, Greg would have written the same article about him. I mean,
I think I think it's unequivocal. Okay, that's why to use an American example, that's why Dan Marino's never going to be considered the best quarterback because he didn't win a Super Bowl.
Correct. Yes.
And there's no guarantee that that McDavid is ever going to win a Stanley Cup. He's not the favorite to do it right now, and this is his first chance in 9 years. So the assumption that he's automatically going to win a Stanley Cup is not on solid ground, and the idea that he won't disqualifies him from being considered the greatest player ever. That's my point.
I'm just saying, if you wrote about Ray Bork and him taking 21 years to actually win a Stanley Cup, would you have done the same thing there?
Would I have? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But Ray Bork didn't. He had to move to Colorado to get his Stanley Cup, which it doesn't count in my personal record. But
of course not.
Do it in Boston. Stugotz booked that.
21 seasons. I mean, that's a lot of juice for that. He's overrated column to just keep going back every single year.
You know what? I think it's a prerequisite. I think unless you win a Stanley Cup, dare say multiple Stanley Cups, you are out of the conversation for greatest ever. And the idea that Connor McDavid would be this consensus greatest player in hockey right now, presumably the next Gretzky, if I dare say that, you have to win a Stanley Cup. And he hasn't in 9 years. And until he does, I'm not having it with McDavid is the best ever. That's all. I'm not saying I'm right, but that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
You really just are putting yourself out there because you're putting yourself.
It's very brave when you think about it. He's Canadian, and he's saying this about the Edmonton Oilers.
If the Oilers,
he's got to go home eventually.
If the Oilers win this series, Panther fans of this show, me, We are going to blame my dad for this.
Zero in on Greg Cote.
No, this
We're
is
going to target
interesting.
Greg Cote.
Well, hold on a second. What is the best case scenario for Greg Cote, and what is the best case scenario for the rest of this show?
If the Panthers win in 5 and McDavid gets like 1 goal in the series, my
Right.
dad's going to be able to say, see, I told you I was right. So this is going to go both ways. If this is a short series for the Panthers, my dad, because
he wins.
The noise might actually start coming for McDavid if, like, hey, you're this great, you just lost in the Stanley Cup. Like, it's not a crazy take, but I would have loved the take after the series.
It's a great take. You have to do it before.
Well, here, my thought is, say that does happen. Say the Panthers win comfortably in 5 games, and McDavid has a fairly quiet series. I'm not going to gloat because I don't.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Listen to the man.
Get the hell out. Hey,
the Stugotz is strong in you.
Hear the man out. He'll let others gloat for him. Go ahead, Greg.
I don't consider anything I've said to be disrespectful to Connor McDavid.
What?
I don't.
It's his opinion.
What?
It's his opinion.
Underachiever?
I have tried.
Mick underachiever.
I have tried.
He didn't say McDonough. He just said underachiever.
Okay, I have tried to make very clear that I respect all his numbers.
Right, you're playing both sides.
He's got the stats.
Let him go,
He's got the stats. He's a future Hall of Famer.
Right.
All of that stuff. He's a great, great player. And when I say use words like overrated and underrated, I entirely and specifically mean win a Stanley Cup. And then let's talk about you in the context of greatest ever.
Fair.
If you don't win a Stanley Cup and he's had 9 years, then you don't qualify for that conversation. That's my opinion. And it's the same with most sports. I think that's consistent with most sports.
Greg, if I can speak for you for a second, what you did was you laid the table to open the door for McDavid to be this great player.
Laid the table.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's what you did. You said, hey, he's an incredible player. Up to right now, up to this very second, he's overrated. If he shows me otherwise in the Stanley Cup final, I'm good.
Absolutely.
That's what you're doing. You're just
100%.
laying the table for everybody.
Yes, thank you.
I think you lay groundwork and you set a table.
I think you're right. Yeah.
The table is set.
I think it does.
I got the point.
That
though,
kind of thing.
But you're right.
Yeah.
I'm opening the door and inviting you into the table.
Let's all lay the
Beautiful
table.
meal.
Right. So the best case scenario for Greg is that the Panthers sweep. They win in 5. McDavid does nothing. He wins. Okay. He doesn't have to say another word. All right.
If the Oilers win in 5 and McDavid scores 3 goals a game,
if the Oilers
I'm
win
going to
and
murder my dad.
Seems illegal.
You won't have to. I mean,
Panthers fans will do that for you.
You know what that attitude is like? Okay, this is 100% superstition. The idea that anything I write or say would actually have a palpable effect on how the series turns out is ridiculous.
Wait, let's stop right there for a second. Do you guys think that in the last 48 hours, somebody or him himself, that the word overrated, a writer in Miami, like, is McDavid aware that somebody has called him overrated?
100%.
I mean, the entire country is talking about it.
That's why, like, is he watching SportsCenter? Like, did he watch this Mike Johnson hit? Like, I don't know, because I could see a guy like that just totally turning off.
In the social media age, there is no way Connor McDavid has not learned of Greg Cote's opinion on Connor McDavid.
Okay,
there's no way.
And here's my question: Does the great Connor McDavid, about to play in his first career Stanley Cup final,
need more motivation?
Need the extra motivation of what some guy in Miami wrote? I hope not, for his sake.
Mm-hmm. What if it did?
Attaboy.
But what if it did?
I have someone going and getting a print copy of the Miami Herald with your column and physically putting it on a cork board in the practice room.
The old
for
bulletin board.
Yeah, the bulletin board material.
You guys
quite
don't
literally.
understand. Nothing would make Greg happier if that were the case. I mean,
that would be huge.
You would love that, right?
You know what? I don't believe in sports superstition. Okay, if my guy's pitching a no-hitter into the 7th inning,
You better not say a
I'm gonna
damn
say,
word.
Hey, McGillicuddy's got a no-hitter going. Did you know that? It's not going to affect him on the mound because I say it in my living room. It's just not.
Hey, 6 outs to go.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Superstition. Come on.
You're right. If McDavid is paying attention to your opinions on Connor McDavid, that A, it lends to your point. B, focus on the cup.
He should be the most motivated athlete on earth right now because I guarantee you this, McDavid knows what I'm talking about. He knows that until he wins a Stanley Cup, something is missing, and it's something huge on his resume. Dan Marino never got over it.
Nope.
And neither will Connor McGregor unless he's
Conor McGregor.
I mean,
also, no,
it doesn't
Greg's
matter.
right. Greg's also right because Conor McGregor, we're still trying to see if he's in 303. Ariel says he is now. All of a sudden, he wasn't. Now
he
he's
won
back.
a
He's gotta
championship.
fight.
What a great point. Transition.
Tony and I were laughing because, Chris, you have to give the take before the series. You can't let
Not
the
when I'm an emotional Panthers fan.
No, time out. Hear me
matter.
out. You can't let the series play out and then give the take that everyone else is giving. Greg is ahead of everyone on this take. And it begs the question. The NBA Finals tip off tonight. Do you want to do this again? Do you want to call someone out? Your choices are Tatum or Luka, I think.
Yeah.
Right. It's up to you. If you don't do it, I will.
Greg Cote saying that he's not going to gloat if the Panthers win this series and McDavid is invisible. Like, you are going to gloat.
Okay, if the Panthers
You're going to retweet the article and say, see?
If the Panthers win this series, I'm going to be writing about the Panthers winning their first Stanley Cup in 30 years.
That's right.
You're saying if
on a parade float.
You're saying if McDavid has a less than par series, even though in golf less than par is good.
Right.
Overpar.
Are you going to write
Lay
the
the
word
table.
McOverrated in your synopsis of the series?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Mostly I'm going to write, in that scenario, it's probably because Bob had another knockout series and was lights out at the net. Mm-hmm. And just the way he shut down the New York Rangers' big three.
Well, it was the Panthers' defense, not necessarily Bob.
Okay, but the point is, they're capable of doing that against McDavid.
Yes.
They are. I think they are. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I have that much faith in the Panthers' defense. And, good luck to McDavid. May the best team win, blah, blah, blah.
Greg is hoping that Connor proves him wrong, right? I mean, of course. Right?
Let's not go that way. No.
Back streets back. All right. Since the dawn of mankind, we've cooked our food over an open flame and debated the best way to grill. One thing not up for debate, grilling and beer always go together. But not just any beer will do. Whether you barbecue, Texas style, or just celebrate Wednesday with burgers and dogs, I love Miller Lite. Every single time my team plays on television, I am sitting behind that television screen with a Miller Lite or 3. Miller Lite keeps it simple. Undebatable quality, taste as great as your barbecue. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters the most. With the Miller Lite in hand, grilling doesn't just taste great, it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Woo!
At the Coca-Cola Company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and PepsiCo, our bottles might still look the same, but some of them can be remade in a whole new way, using 100% recycled plastic. New bottles made using no new plastic except the caps and labels. You'll be seeing more of these new bottles in more places, and that's thanks to you, because when we get more bottles back, we can use less new plastic. Learn how our bottles are made to be remade at madetoberemade.org.